Hi guys! Welcome back to another episode of Not Your Usual 9 to 5, where we feature unique professions in Singapore and share tips and tricks to their trade. My name is Gladys, your host for the show, and today we have super dog trainer with us, Wilson!
Hi
Wilson!
Hi everybody, my name is Wilson. I'm the trainer and I run Super Dog Training.
Yeah, so he is the main trainer for Super Dog Training School and will show you guys exactly what his school does, so check out this next video. You need to give them some time to play the video, but thank you for joining us on the show.
No problem, thank
He's
you for
actually very
inviting
nervous.
me. Yeah, I am.
But this is a video that Wilson wanted to show you guys. We couldn't bring his dog Cookie onto the set, sadly, but you can also check out his dog on the video right now.
So this is Cookie. She's a Havanese by breed. She's actually turning 5 next week on the 11th.
Oh,
Yeah.
5. So this is the 5th year.
This is the 5th year. We took this video last week. I just want to showcase some stuff that we normally do in class. This is loose leash walking. We get the dog to walk nicely on a loose leash. Right? Yeah. And this is stay. You get the dog to stay at a certain spot. The platform is just for show, like you can stay on the floor also. Right. So in the video, we added some distraction by pushing a pram. That's Cookie's pram, by the way.
Cute!
So that's her pram. Then the video will help her to still in a stay position, but she's still getting distracted. Looking at the pram, opening the umbrella, while still not moving.
Understand.
Yeah.
So a lot of times dogs can get very distracted and they run around
Yes.
without a leash, but this is to help that they are safe in that spot.
In a way, yes. So sometimes you need to go to a corner, ask your dog to don't move, go in the store real quick to grab something. This is a good chance to...
Oh, it's like asking your kid, 不要走.
Yeah.
Mommy, go and buy something first. This is hand signals.
Hand signals, yes. So later we also talk about why we just use hand signals, but I get Cookie to do a bunch of stuff, right? So in the video you cannot really hear because the wind was very loud, but there's nothing to hear also because I wasn't really talking to her. I was just using my body to communicate with her to do things.
So she would know what you need to do with just hand signals?
Yes.
Wow, that's really incredible. So this is actually part of the dog training that Wilson provides at his school, which is really quite incredible. So personally, I never knew that there was a profession for dog training. I'm so ashamed to say, but I don't think it's a very popular profession in Singapore.
I wouldn't say it's a very popular vocation. I would say that people don't really know we exist. Only people get a dog. I need some help. Where can I find help? Let me Google,
Yeah.
Let me find, there's a dog trainer. Such thing exists.
Yeah, but with dog behavior and dog training, sometimes Google might not be the best solution because you need to see the problems when it surfaces, right? And then you need to tackle it.
Correct.
So what exactly is dog training?
So dog training essentially is we teach the dog a certain set of behaviors, right? In different scenarios, we ask them to in a way perform tricks, right? So there's a lot of dog training types out there, but we teach them a set of behaviors, how to respond, and we also teach the owners. Right, so we don't just teach the dog. So on contrary to popular belief, right, I don't just teach dogs, right? Because with dogs, you need constant reinforcement. You need to continuously teach the dog so that the behavior can be maintained, right? So on top of teaching a dog, I also have to teach the owner on how to maintain the behavior, how to execute all these behaviors, like walking nicely on the leash, how to continue training with your dog even when I'm not around. Right. Other than that, sometimes I'm also a counselor. I'm also
when they're having problems.
When they're having problems, hi, I'm having this problem. It's very difficult. What do I do? Need to be there for them emotionally, because physically I cannot be there, But some students, when they've attended my class before, they understand my style. I'll say, try this, try that. If it works, if it doesn't work, then I'll come down for another session. Right.
Wow, it's very similar to raising a child.
Yes, sometimes we also like the cheerleader, we like, yeah, good job, it's very well done, well done, be a cheerleader, throw some pom-poms, like get the families excited, to continue training the dog.
Yeah, I understand. Okay, I have this really big question because personally, I used to have a dog myself when I was much younger, but my experience with my dog was quite happy, so I don't know, why would people need dog trainers?
So why would people need dog trainer? Me personally, right, before I got Cookie, I did a lot of research, right? I studied so much. I even set out her playpen 1 week before she came back.
You're such an excited dog owner.
I was so excited, right? But the good thing is that I managed to find out a lot of information online. So when she came home, it got very easy for me. right? But most people, they would still approach a trainer because maybe one, they don't have the time to to do their own research. 2, they don't really know what to search for online. And 3, some people, they have this ideal scenario in their head, but when the dog comes home, they'll be like, oh my god, this is a way new level. So then they'll like get the professionals to come in, help them settle the dog down into the family.
So I guess it's like you bring in a new child who doesn't know how to behave yet. So the dog trainer is there to help the entire family, is it? So do you,
yes.
you help with like toilet training,
Yes.
to sit, not to bark at strangers? Is that how it works?
It's mostly how it works, yes. We like to... Sorry, what's the question again?
Like, the training involves like behaviors, like don't bark at people or stay when you need to, where to go to the toilet, that kind of thing?
Yes. So there's actually a lot of different types of training services out there. So mainly I deal with puppy training, right? So puppy, you think about it, when they first come home, right? The dog is like what? 3 months old, 2 months old. They're barely alive for 100 days. So things can be very overwhelming for the puppy, taken away from the family, coming to a new house, going new experience and whatnot. It can also be very overwhelming for the owners, right? Where the dog comes back, the owner don't know what to do. Oh my god, my dog is always barking. Oh, my dog doesn't go to the pee pad, that kind of thing. But actually the dog is really seeing the pee pad for the first time. Right? So these are the things we need to teach. I need to impress onto the owners that, hey, you're learning, the dog is also learning, right? So we just learn together and learn how to live together nicely, right? So that we have a better understanding of one another.
I really see the importance of your job now.
Yeah.
I really see it. For me, I used to be very lucky because my mom was very patient and then she would train. But honestly, our family didn't have a lot of time. I was a kid, I loved to be out, and then she was always working also. So I really see now how a dog trainer would have made her life a lot easier.
Yes, we tend to come with a very structured syllabus, I would say, but more tailored to the family. So if you're facing this problem, let's address that problem first, or let's get the dog to do something. But it's more structured in a way, and it helps people to bridge the gap. When the dog comes home, what should I do first, right? How should I settle the dog in, that kind of thing.
And I guess those are very important because the beginning is usually a very important part of the puppy's like training and memories. You want to make sure they come into a happy situation, right?
Yes. So puppies, they are like a sponge. Like when children, you send them to nursery, they learn very, very quickly. Puppies, they are like a sponge. Whatever they learn is very quick. They impress on them very quickly, and they actually pick it up very, very fast. Right? So in just now the video, we talk about hand signals. Then dogs just studying every of your movement, thinking about what you're going to do next, what should they be doing next, that kind of thing. So they actually pick up on the environments very, very quickly.
I understand. Well, even me right now, I'm a sponge absorbing all the new information already. So to all of you out there on Facebook Live watching, thank you for joining our show. This is not your usual 9 to 5, and we feature unique professions in Singapore you might not have known. Today, we have super dog trainer with us, Wilson, and he's already shared with us some very important tips on dog training, but there's much more for us to learn. So if you yourself is a dog owner, or you have multiple dogs actually, and you are interested to find out more about these kind of tips and tricks, or even common mistakes that dog owners can make sure to stay on to the live stream. If you like what you're seeing, please give us a like and help us to share this video so more people can enjoy the show and more potential dog owners can learn about all these golden knowledge you usually have to pay for. Keyword, you usually have to pay for. So today you get to learn all these knowledge for free. So please join us on the show, like and share the video. And we are gonna have Cookie on the show with us as well through the pre-recorded videos. She's really, really cute, so please stay on and enjoy her shows, okay? So we were just talking about what dog training is and why people need them. I never knew about this profession and its importance, but now I'm really very, very sold. But another question I have is, how do you train the dogs?
How do I train a dog? The approach we use to train a dog is what we call LIMA, L-I-M-A.
L-I-M-A, Lima.
Yeah, it stands for least intrusive, minimally aversive. Right, so LIMA actually forces us as the teacher to teach the learner in, to teach the learner in their perspective. How are they seeing certain things in the environment? Right, it forces us to put ourselves in their shoes essentially. Right, so dogs, they learn through association very, very quickly. Right, so whatever they pick up, they learn as well. With LIMA, we use positive reinforcement mainly as the choice, where we reward the dog, reinforce a particular behavior to see more of a certain behavior that we want. For example, if we want the dog to sit, then we would teach the dog, lure a dog into a seat, then give the dog a treat after that, right? But Lima doesn't necessarily mean that all the behavior will turn out to be nice and whatnot, right? Because it's everything in the learner's perspective, which in this case is the dog, right? So we can train a dog essentially using anything the dog wants. For example, the dog can sit in exchange to going out, right? So if it sits down nicely, I put on the leash, he gets to go out nicely, right? So that kind of thing you can train with play, right? So if in exchange for maybe sitting down very nicely, the same thing, right? I can throw the ball and reward the dog.
So there's a lot of positive reinforcement going on.
Yes, right.
So would you say that's the main technique you use to encourage these behaviors?
Yes, that's the main technique that I would always choose too. I myself personally, I'm very sold with this method. It's also in line with SPCA's Teach with Kindness program, right? So they launched
very knowledgeable. You've got like a lot of like technicalities going on.
Yeah, no SPCA, they have this campaign they launched not long ago, which is Teach with Kindness, where the method is actually very humane. We think in the learner's perspective and how we do things, right? I was very sold with the idea because maybe some years back, right? When
some years back.
Right? So when I first had Cookie, I was back in the United States. So I was living in the States for a while, right? Then there's this particular incident that really ingrained into my head, even up to today, right? Last time when I got home, there was this particular week, I cannot forget. She actually shredded her pee pad.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she shredded her pee pad when I came home. Then I was like, oh, Cookie, why you shred your pee pad? So angry. Then I walked towards her, I bring her to the pee pad. I was like, no, bad dog. Then I keep beating her.
My mom used to do that.
Yeah, so the story will come later. So I used to do that. But after a week, right, I realized it didn't change the situation. Every time after work I come home, the pee pad will be shredded, right? Then she'll look at me, then she'll, you're home. Right? Then I'll do the same thing. Cookie, bad dog. Then I'll go there. I was like, But at the end of the week, the pee pad thing didn't change. One thing changed. When I opened the door, Cookie actually ran into hiding. I couldn't reach her. She was in such a corner of the house. Right. So then I reflected on my actions. I think about the sequence of events. First thing is she shredded the pee pad. She was having a lot of fun when she was shredding the pee pad. Nobody was home to stop her. She was just enjoying the whole process. Right. Later I found out on the internet that Havanese actually likes to shred lah. Right. So that's one. The second thing I also learned is that every time I open the door, she would run because she associated that me coming home is equals to punishment. So she actually ran. It really broke my heart a lot because that's not the relationship I want with my dog.
Yeah.
So it took me about another week or so to, when I come home, I need to be very neutral, then try to engage her in a play session, entice her a little bit, do some feeding time. Then it was about until a week or so, or two later, then when I come home, then she was like, oh, you're home. Then she kind of forgot about the whole incident. Yeah, but the pee pad thing didn't stop lah. So I had to come up with new solutions to come up with that.
Wow.
Yeah. So to me, I personally believe that teaching dog, there's a lot of methods, but I would choose positive reinforcement, right? Yeah. But can we reinforce the wrong behavior? We can, right? For example, like the pee pad story, right? When she was shredding the pee pad, she's having a lot of fun. So next time when she want to have fun, she'll learn that I can go and shred the pee pad.
Right.
Yeah. So positive reinforcement doesn't just mean that everything is nice. It just means that the learner enjoys the process as well.
Does it also involve kind of directing her to shred something else rather than a pee pad?
Yeah, so in this case, right, I actually spend the weekends at home. Every time I see her walk towards the pee pad, then she looks like she's going to shred the pee pad. I'll take out her toy, I'll redirect her. Hey, play with this, play with that.
Wow.
Right, then it took her a while, but then I didn't give up, but because training needs time. Yeah, so after a while, she'll learn that pee pad is not as fun. And then she'll go and find other things to go and shred on.
Well, the more you go on with your story, right, the more I see the similarities with teaching a child.
Yes.
It's really, really very similar.
Yeah.
And I feel like the research that you have done is very similar to studying for an exam but includes practical and theory.
Yes. So actually, I myself, I'm still studying. Dog training is a constant thing. So as trainers, we do continue to take up courses to keep up to date with training methods, to keep ourselves fresh and keep ourselves hot. Right. So just last week, I started this new course with the International Association of Animal Behavior Consultant. Right, I'm doing this fundamentals of animals, behaviors, and learning course. Right, so it teaches me a lot of things. And part of the study research, they actually give us a research paper on children with self-injury behaviors and how they use the reinforcement method to teach. the child.
Oh, okay. So then the question comes, do you need to be certified to be a dog trainer?
Truth be told, in Singapore, there's two kinds, right? There's the AVS accreditation, right? But that by law requires your dog, which is of a certain breed, like German Shepherd, Rottweilers, all this, to be trained by AVS certified trainers, right? AVS also put on the website that if your dog doesn't belong to such categories, plus aggression dogs. So dogs was also deemed aggressive by AVS. So if your dog doesn't fall into these two categories, anybody can train a dog. I mean, anybody can provide training services towards the dog. So in a way, the training industry is not really regulated at this point.
Oh, yeah. So in summary, it is that you don't need to be certified, but there are those who are not and there are those who are.
Yes, so I am also going to go take the internet, just now the school I told you, right, short form is called IAABC.
The short form helps.
Yes. So I'm personally going to go take the IAABC. They have a dog accreditation, a dog trainer accreditation program, right? So it's a whole lot of stuff. They give you a lot of scenarios, a lot of essays they have to attempt, right? Then they'll give you a certification. There's also other organizations out there that provide certification, international titles, like the CCPDT. I mean, there's a lot of jargons. Yes. There's also the Professional Pet Guild. There's a bunch of here and there, right? I also have this title, which is called Diploma Practitioner in Canine Behavior. It's by this school in the United Kingdom. I did a one year, it's a 2-year studies, but it's due at your own time. So I spent 1 year on the diploma, and I wrote 17 essays while working full time.
学霸.
Yeah, to get that title and to learn more. Yeah, but as a dog trainer, the baseline is we always learn, right? But learning never stops. My friend, they have been in the industries for about 10 over years. They still ask questions, right? Ask different methods and whatnot. So the theory can only bring you this far. But when you look at the actual dog, you must learn which theory to apply, how to do this, do that. So every dog is different as well.
Understand. So every dog is different, yes, but today we have Cookie's example. So
yes.
Wilson actually has another video for us to check out, and yeah, just really, really cute stuff. So hang on and stay tight. We'll play the video for you guys real quick, okay? I'm very excited because every time I see Cookie, right, it's just so small and cuddly.
Yeah, when I first got her, she's like 4 kg, you know. Then she's like so small,
so
she's
light.
like barely my palm size like that.
Yeah.
Then after all, I don't know how she ballooned to be like, now she's like 9 kg.
But she's still very
she's
tiny
still
though.
generally very small lah, but she also likes to come to my face every time I'm sleeping. Sometimes if I sleep past the breakfast time, right, then imagine that blob of black hair, she'll go to my face and she'll start sniffing. It's like, hello, please feed me. Then you got all the blackout curtains.
Oh, so cute.
Then you open your eyes and see that blob of black hair.
Does Cookie lick your mouth?
She does not. But when she was a puppy, she liked to bite on my hair.
Then 你不是秃头了?
No lah. Like every time I lie on the bed, then she'll come. Because it looks like a rope toy, like 毛毛 one. So she always like to chew on my hair.
Oh, okay. Oh, so cute though. So now she doesn't really do that anymore.
She doesn't, and really lah. She outgrow the puppy stage, right?
You know they always say what when your children grow up, and then they always say what parents prefer their children when they're younger because they were cuter, do a lot of cute things. Is it the same?
No. Because puppy you have a lot of different problems. You got play biting, you got energy. You know, puppies is full of energy.
Yeah.
Then they are constantly eating. Then they're constantly eliminating themselves. Right? They're constantly biting on stuff. Cookie actually bite onto my Anya B wallet once. She bite through it. Because it was my fault, I fell asleep on the floor back in the States. Then my wallet was on the floor. She bite through my credit cards, my bills, then my whole wallet. Then I have to go to the bank. I was like, sorry, can you help me change the notes?
Oh my gosh, you know the age-old excuse, my dog ate my homework.
Literally, yeah. But thankfully, she left the serial number so I could change the note. It was like a lot of $100 bills.
What a kind Cookie.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Wow, this is very cute. So when you have to correct all these mistakes and you to train your own dog, right? I'm pretty sure you have learned a lot as well. So based on your experience, what are some common training mistakes that dog owners make, or even misconceptions that they have?
So the first thing in your sentence that alarms me is the word correct, right? I don't like to use the word. I want to correct my dog of a certain behavior. I don't want my dog to be doing this. I wish my dog would stop doing that. So a lot of no statement, a lot of stop statement. In training, we like to say yes statement a lot, right? Because when you say yes, you can train to a certain behavior. So when my clients and students ask me like, yeah, I wish my dog would stop doing this, I wish my dog would stop doing that. My first question is, what do you want your dog to do? Then they'll be like, oh, I want my dog to maybe stop barking. I'm like, no, what do you want him to do, right? Because when it's very easy to tell the dog to do something instead of stop doing something. Right? So I always like to change the scenario. Like for example, I wish my dog would stop jumping at the gas. Right? But it's how to tell the dog no. The dog don't understand English. Right? The dog is just gonna be thinking that the dog is thinking to me like, if somebody come, hey, you are screaming together, then the dog gets even more excited.
Yeah.
Then you'll be like, no, then the dog, yeah, then the dog will just keep jumping. Right? So we will change the statement to a yes statement. So instead of I wish my dog would stop jumping, right? Instead I just wish my dog would sit every time when the guest comes. So we identify the scenario when the guest comes, right? Then we identify the behavior that we want the dogs to do, to sit. So the dog will learn that every time somebody comes, I sit down, then the person will come and greet me. I don't have to jump around. Then it becomes more pleasant for the person visiting also. Right? So behavior, we don't have the differentiation of good or bad. Right? If a dog loves to shred, then that is very good for the dog. But in our eyes, it might seem like it doesn't seem very nice. But in actual fact, the dog is enjoying the process as well.
So other than trying to reframe the mindset, instead of trying to say, stop doing this, stop doing that, and changing it to what you want the dog to do so you can focus on actionables for the dog, what other common mistakes do you see in dog training or in owners?
So that's one. The second one is people will say things like, oh, my dog can sit at home. My dog can sit at home, but if you go out, my dog won't listen to me. That kind of stuff. So my answer mostly is that your dog has learned to do something in this environment. So like the video we see just now, right, where we have distractions. We push a pram, we push, we open an umbrella. The dog initially, my cookie initially should know how to stay at home. Then I have to bring her to different environments, bring her downstairs to the void deck, bring her to the park to do it again. So I have to start training from scratch again. Every time there's a new, we call it distraction. Right? Distraction essentially means a change in environment. A bird flies past is a distraction, a motorcycle is a distraction. Every time there's a new distraction in place, the dog doesn't know. It's not that he purposely, no, my dog purposely made me angry. It's just that the dog probably hasn't learned to behave the same way you want him to in the behavior, in that scenario. So we always bring the dog to different places, to keep repeating to do the same thing. So we'll drive them to this stage of what we call generalizing. So the dog will learn that, no matter where I am or what's going on in the environment, this is a certain set of behavior that you want me to do, and I'll always be doing. Yeah.
I guess that's really important also, because then you can identify what you need to do, which is to build a behavior, right?
Yes.
When you identify something that you don't want the dog
Correct.
to do. I think that's really, really important, because that story you mentioned just now about the dog peeing somewhere else, and then you bring the dog, and then you scold the dog.
Yeah.
Hey, don't do this, don't do that. Actually, my family used to do that. Ashamed.
We don't advise owners to punish the dog, to scold the dog for potting not on the pee pad or on the floor. What you're teaching the dog essentially is every time the dog pees, right, then you will appear, then you will start scolding the dog. Hey, bad dog, bad dog. Then the dog like, oh, so this behavior of peeing is wrong. I cannot do it in front of you, so let me run behind the couch and do it. Let me run to the corner of the house to do it. Yeah. So easier way is to bring the dog to the pee pad. If they do it on the pee pad, yes, good job. Give them a lot of praises. Probably play with them a little bit. Give them some treats, to reward them. So so if I pee here, I get a lot of food. If I pee elsewhere, then the food doesn't really come. But I really want the food, or I really want the playtime.
True.
Yeah.
I guess also like when encouraging behaviors, if you simply say no or you say stop, right, you're giving them 1,000 other possibilities, even though it's like the same mistake, but maybe it's a different location. So there's like a lot of different
So the dog will get confused a lot. Like, so what you want me to do?
Yeah.
If you want me to sit, no. I lay down, no. I give you paw, no. So what you want me to do? So a lot will start to do a lot of different things also. Right.
That's very interesting.
Yeah. And another thing, misconceptions. I won't say misconceptions, I'll say handling. I brought leashes. Right. So I'm gonna give you the. You can have the pink one.
I have a thank you.
You must give me back one, So
I have no use for it now.
How old was your dog though?
All the way, like from 1 year old to I think I had him for very long P5, P6, it's like 1, 2, 3, I think 6 to 7 years.
Oh, so that's quite short.
Is it short?
Yeah. What happened to the dog though?
Passed away.
You were so sad.
But Actually, I cannot remember how old the dog was, but I had him for about 6 to 7 years. And then he died of old age and sickness.
No.
My mom told me. But I don't know how old he was when we first brought him in.
I see. So maybe it was a rescue or whatnot. Then he was already of age.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah. Oh, anyway, this one, the leash, right? So a lot of people, they like to hold. So how would you normally hold a leash if you know you have a dog?
I will just hold it like this.
Hold it like this. Okay, so like that. So you'll get very, in a way, okay lah. Right. So I want to teach you another way to hold the leash so that it's safer for you and it's less painful.
Okay.
So a lot of people like to loop the leash through the hand this way.
Oh yeah, I do that sometimes.
Yeah, then when you want to shorten the leash, what would you do?
I'll just do this, maybe.
You start to do this, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so now you give me the other end.
The other end here.
Yeah. Okay, then you loop your hand around the...
Loop your hand.
So now
Okay,
imagine I'm a
loop my
very
hand.
strong dog. I'm like a 30 kg golden retriever. Right? I start pulling. Right. Does your hand hurt?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Alright, hand hurts a lot, right? Now
I'm gonna fall off.
emergency, you need to drop off the leash. Drop the whole leash. A lot of problem, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So one way to hold the leash, this way, in a way it works with dogs with escape tendencies. Right? Sometimes you want to hold the leash a bit tighter because you don't want the dog to escape.
Yeah.
Right. But day to day, you can hold the leash in an easier way. Just find a loop. Right. Put through your thumb.
Here.
Yeah. Then use your whole palm to close it.
Grab.
Yeah. Okay. Now give me the other end. Okay. Is it easier?
Oh, it's less painful.
It's less painful, so it doesn't stop blood circulation also.
Yes, just now my arms, because I wrapped it around, right? It kind of hurt this part of whatever it's called, a wrist.
Yeah, wrist. Yeah, so I actually injured myself also. So my friend actually showed me this technique. Right? Because the dog, I think, was 30 kg and it was like a super puller. Then I was like, struggling with the dog.
Yeah.
Right? So generally also some people like to keep the leash too short. So this leash is about 1.8 meters long. Right? A good 6-feet leash is generally very well. Because imagine the average person height, 1.6 to 1.8, right?
That's not an average height because I don't hit that average number.
Right, so, okay. So let's talk about, okay, just say we put our hands down, right?
Okay.
On the floor. They cannot see, but imagine now if it's a 1 meter leash, right? So let's fold it into half. Then the other end will be the dog already.
Yeah.
Right. So every step the dog takes, right? The dog is actually like cannot go around to explore the area, but the dog is constantly pulling, and it can actually cause a lot of frustration in the dog, and also cause a lot of frustration in the owner. Right. When you have a 1.8 or 1.5 to 2 meter each leash, right? What you need to do is every time, if you need to keep your leash short, say you're walking through a crowd or emergency, you can shorten it, right? You can just fold it into half, right? Then it's still short. But if the dog wants to explore, maybe go further a bit to sniff that grass patch. You know, the dog can walk there and still nicely walk. Then it makes the walking experience more pleasant also. Right? Then when you need to shorten the leash, right?
Okay.
Another method, same thing, loop through your thumb, then loop through the index finger, make a loop, make another loop. Yeah. Then after that, just close the whole thing again, both together.
And then close it together.
Yeah, everything. So that is still short.
Oh yeah, it
Yeah,
is.
it's still very short. Right. You can do it with both hands also. So if you want to use 2 hands, same thing, over 1 finger, make a loop, go around the finger, then close it.
Also, you get to hold. Like
Yeah.
2
So if you
hands.
need 2 hands, that's also something you can do.
Oh.
Yeah. So
okay.
nowadays I like to put 1 through the thumb, 1 through the index finger, then just close. If I need it short,
Yeah, it does make it easier and a lot less painful.
Yeah. So now emergency, you need to let go of your leash. Let go. Yeah, so easy, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So last week I was at a student's place, then they had one of the neighbor walked past, right? So the kid had it around very, very tightly. Then the dog actually got tangled and he wanted to let go. And the kid was panicking also.
Oh.
So then they got into a lot of trouble. So I was showing the father, do this, do that. Yeah.
I guess the simplest things can be really important as well. Like leash holding, I never expected it to be a very important detail, but imagine hurting both your wrist and the dog's neck
Yes.
because of tightness. It's really quite scary and very sad. Because of a very small mistake.
Yes lah, in that sense, yes.
Okay, so once again, for those of you who have just joined us, I'm with Wilson here. He is Super's dog trainer, and we just talked about how to hold your dog leash properly. So if you missed that out, you can check the replay. But we're going to be dishing out much more information for you guys, tips and tricks to training your dog. So make sure to stay on, help us to like and share this video so more people can enjoy the show. Yeah, so we have talked a lot about the tips and tricks. So maybe we can go back to another cute video of Wilson and his dog Cookie before we go on to talk about our next topic. So this is on hand signals, right?
Yeah, so just now I was saying, I actually wasn't talking to the dog. So even if I put in the audio back, you can see how Cookie's head is flying. The wind was very strong that day, right? We actually talked to our dog.
That's so cute.
Yeah, I was like so proud of it, right? So in the whole video, you see Cookie doing a bunch of tricks, right? I got her to get out to the platform, I get her to sit, then I get her to lay down, get her to stand on all fours, then give me paw on each side, get off, then get into her bag as well.
Are those your actual hand signals? Like that, like that, like that?
Some different way lah, but this is how Cookie and me have developed our communication, right? How we achieve to that stage, right, is actually quite a tedious process, right? Normally when we want to teach a dog a certain behavior, say a sit to a down, right, we will try to break them up first, right? Then at the end of every repertoire, we will give the dog a piece of chicken, a piece of treat, or some playtime, that kind of thing. So for Cookie to do that whole series of behavior was actually quite challenging for her as well, right? Because she have to watch me and see what I'm asking for her to do. Then after that, she gets her chicken at the end of it at the correct sequence.
So meaning she needs to focus, and then she needs to understand, and then she needs to react and do it.
Yes.
So that whole series can be quite difficult and challenging for the dog.
Correct. And we were doing it at the new environment as well. So when I was practicing at home, she could do it. Then when we go to a new environment, then she needs some time to warm up again. I was like, do you want me to go into the bag now? Or
Which is why just now Wilson mentioned if you bring the dog home and his behavior is good, but then when you bring the dog out, sometimes their behavior is different and then it can get the owner very annoyed. And then you don't understand why. So the answer is because in every different environment, the dog will again be unsure of what to do at this new place.
Yeah. So it's to teach the dog how to behave in a certain environment so that they will learn
So
better.
it's sort of like you need retraining again at every different place you bring the dog.
I wouldn't say retraining, I would say more like jumpstart, right? Because they already know, they just have to like get on to it. Oh, so you're doing this thing now. so most things we like to teach in a very quiet environment, preferably at home or at the void deck, when it's generally very quiet, right? You cannot expect, like now if I can get Cookie to stay very nicely at home, then I hit the 1 minute mark, right? Then the next thing I challenge her, I bring her to the MRT station. I'm not just being unfair to myself, I'm being unfair to her because I'm setting unrealistic expectation, right? It's like she probably never seen the train or seen so many people at the same time. Then you ask her, I want to stand so fast to open the umbrella, open the pram. I mean, it probably can get very overwhelming for the dog. So we like to always go in a very small gradual step to help the dog cope as well.
Okay, I guess it's really like training your child.
Yes, it is.
Wow, that's very interesting. I heard this phrase before. If you can raise your dog well, you can raise your child well. And I feel that you are a very... Now he's like, oh, can I be a good dad? And I feel that you're very patient also.
Yeah.
And you really take the time to focus on teaching with positive reinforcement rather than scolding and stopping them. So I think that's a very important trait in a dog trainer.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah, just because honestly, I've never known so much knowledge is needed for dog training. And the one that I was the most familiar with was my family. If the dog pees on the floor somewhere in the living room, right, they would bring the dog and bring his head to the floor, be like, no, here, no.
So every...
I was always so scared when I saw that as a kid.
Quite intimidating also. I mean, we don't want to be treated that same way, right? Every interaction with your dog, or even our interaction, we're always constantly learning new stuff. So every interaction with a dog, they are learning. So if you grab the dog, go to the pee. No, so I pee is wrong. So the dog, or maybe the dog feel that your hand is a scary thing. Then imagine now you want to try to reach your dog, you're trying to beat me. And
it's really sending out the wrong message.
Yes, correct.
Can you share, so what are your hand signals just between you and Cookie? Some, like maybe 3 cute ones.
She knows how to bang.
Oh, why?
So she just bang, then she's very cute.
Oh my gosh, then she'll play it. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's so cute.
Correct. Then she can speak. So if I put this mic here, some people do this, like speak. If I do this, then I say speak, then she ruff.
Just one time?
Because she don't, same thing last time when I first had her, right? I always beat her because I didn't know better.
Yeah.
Right, so she beat, she barked then I'll beat, she barked. This is not very good, I realized, because...
they learn all the wrong things and they misunderstand what you wanted.
Correct. And she is very afraid to bark in front of me. In dog training also, we say this thing that we don't punish the dog's bark, right? Because when the dog barks, the dog is sending out a lot of signals. It's either they are anxious, they are needy for attention, or they are afraid, right? So it's especially dangerous if the dog is starting to get very afraid, right? Then they are trying to communicate, rah, 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 I'm very scared, please go away. But they see you around, I cannot bark, right? Then they will start to attack, start to be very aggressive.
Understand.
Yeah, there's this thing we call the ladder of aggression. It starts at the bottom, right? In between the part where the dog freezes and the dog starts to bite people is what we call the vocalizing phase. So if a dog learns that I cannot vocalize, right? I pause a while, okay, I take a break, then okay, now I need to escalate this into a fight. So it's a flight or fight, right? If I cannot run away, I start fighting. I cannot give the warning of barking also, so I'm going to start biting. Right. So taking away the bark from a dog is also something we don't do, don't encourage.
And again, I relate this to like human behavior and and like interacting with your child. If you take away speaking from someone or from your child,
your child might not want to talk in front of you.
Yeah, and it can result in suppression and then result in other negative behaviors that.
That's very true. Actually, when we study, right, we will say things like it will result in avoidance behavior, it will result in suppression.
Yeah, I guess just treat your dog as how you would like to treat your child. Yeah, and if they're both painful or they involve painful methods, look for Wilson at Super Dog Training.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
I guess you have shared your hand signals. I had this question as you were talking about that situation, that story. So what does it mean when two dogs walking along in the park meet each other and start barking? I'm Auntie's the dog whisperer. I'm asking him what they mean.
Maybe not whisperer. So that scenario you say, right, then there's more questions I have. So like how is the dog vocalizing? How is the dog like? So when we look at the dog, we don't just see what they are doing, we also study their body language as well. We look at their ears, their eyes, their mouth, right? Yeah. The most common people see things is like the tail. The tail is down, so it's afraid. But there's also a misconception. Sometimes when the dog tail is up, the dog might be very alert or very aggressive. Yeah, so the tail doesn't mean everything. So you have to look at the eyes, the ears, the mouth, right, the body, and the tail, and in general, right? So then if everything is very tense, right, like easier way to see, if the dog is cowering a lot, the ear is down, right, then the lips, the mouth is closed, very tense, then the tail is down with the body also trying to look very small, then probably the dog is like very stressed, very defensive, that kind of thing, right? Then the opposite, not say opposite, but the other way around, if the dog body is still very tense, right, but the ear is perked up, right, the dog is staring intently at you, right, the dog might be very alert, might be very aggressive, right? So some aggressive dogs, their tail will be up, very, very stiff, but also wagging. So people say wagging tail is fine, but actually not really. Because wagging tail might also mean an aggressive dog, the super alert or super aroused.
Yeah, I always thought wagging tail means that the dog is very excited.
Yeah, so you must see generally. So those kind of dogs, right? So you can see the mouth. So if they start to do that kind of thing, start to show the I just remove my braces.
Sort of aggression.
Yeah,
actually, also just me.
Yeah, so those signs to watch out for. When you put two dogs together, right? There's this 3-second rule that I like to say. If nothing is happening within 3 seconds, they're not circling, they're not enjoying, they're not playing, then it's probably time to go. Because in their aggression, right, the ladder, right, if we did hit the 3 seconds, there's no interaction, okay, somebody might start a fight.
Oh,
right?
So why would they start a fight? Like, I have a friend's dog of mine, right? Like, whenever he sees another dog, because they always do night walks along the roads or on the park, whenever his dog sees another dog, right, they start barking really fiercely, and then sometimes the other owner's dog will start a fight with his dog. Like, why does that happen? Like, we don't pick a fight with people for no reason.
Okay, so in that sense, there's this thing in the puppy phase we call socializing. So socializing, you heard a lot of people say, friend, you know, the dog need to go out friend. But when I hear the word friend, I sometimes get a bit irritated. Right, because socializing a dog doesn't mean you put a dog into a situation and expect the dog to learn from the situation. In puppy training, we have this thing called the socializing window. Most dogs is up to about 6 weeks. Not 6 weeks. 16 weeks to about 20 weeks. But plus minus, every dog is different, right? Some dogs mature a bit faster and whatnot. But within the socializing phase, right, the more they're exposed to, right, with better association, they might feel better. Right, as they grow older, before they go into puberty, they will be like, oh, this is even the simplest thing, opening an umbrella. I like to bring umbrella to puppy class. I'll open, And some people like freak out. What is this? Never see before. Right? It's just barely 100 days old. So the more they are exposed to such things, the least likely they are going to be so reactive as they grow older.
So I guess it's learned behaviors as a child,
Yeah,
which relates relates very closely to how you are like as a kid. If you are exposed to it more when you're young,
Correct.
you're familiar with how to deal with it.
Some is just over time they form association, right? If some owners, they like to keep the leash very, very tight, they like the dog to walk beside them. Then every time they see another dog coming, then they will pull the leash very, very tightly because they want the dog close to them, right?
Yeah.
But to the dog might feel that if I see another dog, right, I'm gonna feel very uncomfortable, right? So then he will learn that, oh, maybe another dog is not something nice.
Oh,
So there's a lot of factors in play. You need to see, we can't really tell because sometimes you go to the dog's house, right? The dog is already like 2-3 years old. You cannot ask like, hey, 2 years ago, what were you doing? And it's very hard, but we can do step by step through desensitizing, slow, gradual exposure, to change the dog's certain behavior.
Right. Oh, that's why dog training takes time and a lot of patience.
A lot of time. So a lot of people also think that I go there one session, magic will happen. Right, so I'm not a magician. So
you can be if there's a lot of time for you to work with the dog.
Yes, some things can be very simple, but there will be change. Right, by the end of the session, hopefully there's a small change.
Yeah.
Right, then you impress on the owners that they just have to continue to do this set of repertoire with their dogs, and the dogs will learn that over time the association will form. What we're actually doing is you can put it at a scale. Now my dog knows how to do this. Right, we need the dog to unlearn this. But for the dog to unlearn this, you need to have a replacement behavior. What you want the dog to do, right? So every time when the environment, say when the guest comes over, same situation, right? The more you ask the dog to sit, the dog will learn faster and faster. Every time somebody comes over, I have to sit. Then it will diminish the so-called problem behavior of jumping, I guess. Right? So over time, then the dog will build up the bank of like doing this more and more, and then this will just get lesser and lesser. Right?
I see what you mean. Wow, it really takes a lot of training and time.
Yes.
Sounds very tiring. So I guess after all of that talking and like tips and how you should or should not train your dog, I guess a very big question is what is one method that you use, right, in dog training? So you actually prepared a game for us to try out. Wilson calls it the hot and cold game.
That is actually called the hot and cold game.
Oh, it's not you call it. It's it's an actual thing.
So you can have this. This is a clicker, right? So dogs, they don't understand. Yeah, it's a clicker, right? So it's actually very loud.
Yes, your logo on it. So cute.
So dogs, they don't understand English, to be honest. You can ask the dog to sit, right? After you ask the dog to sit, you say potato. Then every time you say potato, the dog will still sit. Right? Because dogs don't understand English.
Yeah.
Right? So it's really what word you pair with the behavior for the dog to understand. Right? So I like to use potato as an example because I love to eat potato. Right? One method I use to do clicker training, one game we can play is that we're going to start clicking. So a click is quite meaningless to you now, right?
Yeah.
So normally how we do clicker training, there's this phase where we call clicker charging. You'll click, you'll give the dog a piece of food. You click, you'll give the dog a piece of food. Okay. So every time the dog clicks, right, I'm doing something right. Because the food is coming, I'm being rewarded. So now imagine every time I click, I give you $10.
So now every time I hear the click, I know that $10 is coming.
Yeah, then you start to pay attention, right? Like, but in this game also, because we don't talk to the dog as much, we use our body to communicate. Sometimes the hot and cold game is for the humans to understand the learner's perspective, which is the dog. So we don't talk, right? First we have to identify the behavior that we want, right? Then we will work towards it. By doing so, we need to break down into very, very small steps. For example, if I wanted to go and touch the TV over there, right? The first step I need you to do is to probably look at the TV. Every time I look at the TV, I will click. Every time I look at the TV, I will click. Then you're like, maybe it's something to do with the TV. Right? Then you take a step towards the TV. I'll click again, and I'll give you another $10. Click again, I'll give you another $10. Then I'm like, oh, so every time I walk towards the TV, I'll do something. So then you realize that it has something to do with the TV, right? Then you're like, so what do I do with the TV? Right? Then you probably go and touch the TV. No, I wasn't clicking. So it's like, maybe it's not because of the hand. Then maybe you use your feet to go and touch. Then I click. Then I'm like, oh, I need to use my feet to go and touch the TV. Then at the end goal, probably my behavior I want you to do is to use your right foot to touch the TV. Yeah. So it forces the teacher to plan out the training plan, and it also gives the learner a perspective of how to offer a lot of different behaviors. Yeah. So we're gonna play the game.
Okay.
Right. I'm gonna identify a behavior in my head. Right. Should I write it down somewhere?
Actually, no, you can identify it in your head.
Okay, identify in my head. So every time you do something, right, I will start clicking. I won't say no. I won't say restart. Right. I will just probably wait until you do it. And then the game will end when you reach the behavior that we want. Right?
Okay.
It can be anything. It can be you touching the floor, touching the wall, or maybe like right hand to your face, that kind of thing.
So I'll be playing the dog today.
No, later we
Welcome
can
to the
switch
show.
over. Don't say you're the dog.
No
You're the
lah,
learner.
I'll be the learner today. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, let me put down the clicker. I start now.
Yeah, you want to put down your stuff first?
I put down my stuff. Okay, I'll put it behind.
Okay.
Okay.
So let's start. I don't know, I can hear the click. Yes. So the behavior is your
Wow,
right
I
feet.
felt so encouraged as I heard the clicks get more and more.
Correct. So the behavior I've identified in my head is right feet touch the ground. So I started clicking every time when your hand moved all this, I didn't click. So I was just
Yeah.
looking at your right feet. Right. So it gives you an opportunity to offer more behavior. Right. Then it teaches like what do you really want. So how to win the $1 million jackpot. Right. Then that's how you forces the scenario to go about.
So this is something that you do between the humans first, and then you do it on the dog.
No. So when you reach the class, you no time to play this game with the human one lah. You only got 1 hour.
So you just basically teach the owners how to play this with their dog.
No. So normally owners, they sometimes feel lost, they don't know what to do. When we go there, we'll assess what is reinforcing a dog's behavior this way, right? So we'll ask a lot of questions, ask what do you normally do that result the dog to be this way, because it's whatever you do that reinforces a behavior, or what happens every time the dog do a certain thing, what is reinforcing the dog, to encouraging the dog to do more of the behavior, right? Then the more we ask, then we identify already, say, okay, then why not let's try to do this, right? For example, every time the dog hears the doorbell, right? Instead of barking, the dog starts to bark, the human will appear. Somebody will appear on the opposite side.
Okay.
Right? We change. Every time the doorbell rings, the dog goes to his playpen, for example. Right? The human will come in. So it's essentially just teaching alternate behavior. Then we just piece this down, we show the owners, like, oh, let's do this, let's do that. Then we explain to the owners what to do. Right? Owners don't care, you take the clicker. Ask them to move their leg, touch the floor, they don't care. They want to solve their problem with their dog. So normally we'll go in, assess the situation, work, come up with a plan in our head, right? Then we'll execute the plan, then show the owner, you said, let's do this. So every time when this happens, let the dog to do this, then we came up with this, then the owner will understand better how to handle the dog. Right? Mostly it's not just to train the dog, it's also to train the owner primarily. Yeah.
On how to use it to...
No, to teach them how to teach their dogs.
Oh.
This is for human...
to understand...
Yes, we can also use this with a dog to teach very specific behaviors. Or Cookie can also pick up a toy, right? So she can pick up the toy. So when she pick up the toy, I click. So every time they do something right, I start clicking, I give them a food. It's like a bridge, right? Because I click already, right? Then the dog look at me, then I take the food, give the dog. Because if the dog sit already, I go reach for the food, I give the food, the dog might stand up. Then becomes I'm rewarding the behavior of standing up. So clicker is like a marker. You tell the dog that, oh yes, this is a job well done, this current state. Because you just sit, I give you the click, then I give you the food. So you just have to stay seated.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So
Now
it breaks down things step by step. So if you want to teach the dog how to go to the bed, for example, then you break it down into smaller parts like what we are doing first. First you look at the bed, I click. Look at the bed, I click. Then you take a step forward, I click. Then the dog will, every time you inch forward, you start clicking. Yeah, then it builds a rapport. It's called shaping the technique, but
Yeah.
yeah. So we shape the whole process by breaking it down into smaller parts with the eventual end goal in mind. So do you wanna?
Okay, we are a bit short on time today, so we cannot...
No, you don't want to play?
Yeah, I cannot make you the dog now. Giving you the learner, I can't. But
Okay.
yeah, I wanted to answer some other questions that our viewers or I myself might have about dog training
Sure.
and dog training in general, or just about dogs. So, do you understand the dog language?
What is dog language?
That was I'm kidding lah, but because I feel that everybody has their own language, right? Like between us, we understand each other with English, and then with dogs, they somehow understand each other with their own with our
Body
own
language.
Yeah, with their own body language. So that's why I really see the need and importance for a dog trainer to come into the lives of every family who owns a dog right now. Yeah, but then there is also the big question, because this whole show is about featuring professions in Singapore that you never knew could actually be a very sustainable one. So I'm pretty sure a lot of people have this question: is it financially stable to be a dog trainer?
For me, yes lah. So before I left my previous job, I'm a planner. I'm a massive planner. I don't like to take big risks. So I actually plan how should I go about earning my money. I even got a backup job. If I don't earn this enough money, I need to go and do this part-time job, right? So it's really about planning the expenses, right? Then as a dog trainer, sufficient in Singapore, right? Maybe COVID helped a little bit because everybody's working from home, so more people are getting puppies, adopting, right? So that might be a reason why things are doing so better now. Yeah.
So you would say that it's a satisfactory profession for you, that is sustainable in terms of both for the heart and for the wallet.
Yeah, for the wallet.
The soul, yes, but also for the wallet.
Enough, I would say really is enough for my current state. The bills I have to pay, I still need to have a car, pay for rent and whatnot. But at this stage, I would say yes. If inflation comes in, then we can talk about my rates again.
Yeah, I think that's a very important question, because a lot of times before people jump into a profession that we might not be so familiar with, the biggest question is always, is it going to be sustainable for them in the long run? So taking from Wilson, who planned out how it was going to be like, going into it, if it works and if it doesn't, and how he can go from there, and how he actually made it work. So we actually have another video that we wanted to show you guys, which is about the nearer to the end parts of your training classes.
Yes, so the video, I sometimes invite my videographer friend to come down to film the session. Normally the last session, like when we start to wrap up the session, what has the dog learned, right? Can the owner handle the dog to certain things that I've taught throughout the week? So my sessions are 8 sessions long, right? So later the video you will see is Gigi and Momo. Right, I think they are watching the show right now. Right.
You can say hi to them.
Hi, Gigi and Momo's owners. The video will showcase normally what we do in class. It's not everything, but it's the basics where people would generally have with their dog, walking nicely on the leash, staying or recall, that kind of stuff.
Okay, let's check out the video, shall we?
Yeah, sure.
Maybe you can explain to us. So those will be the things that they have learned and taken away.
Correct. So in the video you'll see, yes, this is Momo. She's a mini golden doodle, if I'm not wrong.
And that's Gigi?
She's like 2 kgs. She's
so
super
cute.
small, she's a chihuahua. Yeah. So loose leash walking, normally you'll see dog trainers videos, right? Like because it's only 8 weeks, so we always choose a very quiet place so that the dog can learn. Then we'll, because behind this pavilion there's a very nice canal. Then we also did some sessions there walking with cyclists going past as well. Right, so we'll put them through different scenarios. But when we can do it in a very quiet environment, you know that the dog has learned something. Now it's just to transfer them into a different environment, to just keep repeating, to teach them how to do more things.
To make sure that the learned behavior stays despite the environment.
So this is getting the dog to stay at a distance, then recall and cue. Nowadays we also don't really get the dog to come when you say the dog to stay. Normally we will walk back to the dog. Yeah, so when I see this video, I'm like, there's something I missed out in this class. Right, because you don't want the dog to learn that you have walked a certain distance or they have stayed long enough, they can walk off. They will always wait for the fact that you are coming back. You see, Momo is so cute.
Oh, so cute.
So this is stay. So other than stay and walking away, I also get them to stay. So the timer starts when Momo laid down. I also get them to stay with the owner, hanging out beside. I call it the human watching game. Right, so you can do this at the park. Right, then get the dog to stay beside you, see somebody walk past, then generally very calm, reward the dog. People generally don't reward the dog for being calm, they just want to stop the dog from doing something. Right, and this is recall training. Yeah.
Wow.
So then this is, sometimes I'll make them walk, so walking towards one another, walking side by side, this is also the things that we make them do in class. Right, then now they'll just stop. They learn very well. They learn very well.
Wow.
So I also upload the video onto my YouTube channel.
Can you share with us your YouTube channel? Because we have to stay tuned for more videos, right? I quote the video.
I think it's on Support Dog Singapore or Support Dog Training on YouTube.
Okay,
yeah,
so
but
Support Dog.
it's on my website.
Okay, So that is the last of their video, and that is usually quote-unquote graduation video.
In a way, yes.
Yeah, for their dogs and also the owners who have been through the sessions with them. And we are very, very near the end of our live stream today. So just to do a very quick summary, we have had so much golden knowledge dropping down on us today, and all at a very affordable rate of just your time with us tonight. So I would really, really like to thank Wilson for being so gracious and joining us here today.
Oh, thank you for inviting me.
And sharing all of this. I think a lot of people in Singapore really love dogs, and it is very important that we don't forget to just like enjoy looking at them and looking at them like walk around, but we also need to cultivate a lifestyle with them. So building all these learned behaviors does require some knowledge. If you guys have any questions about dog training, you can actually contact Wilson on his socials. Can you share them with us?
So on Facebook and Instagram is at Super Dog Singapore, right? So SUPAW, combination of super and paw. So Super Dog Singapore. My website is superdogtraining.com. Yeah, so you can find details on my Instagram or Facebook or even my website.
Yeah, so if you guys have any more questions, I don't think we were able to answer all of your questions on live stream. So if you have any more, just check out his socials and ask him directly. He's very responsive and he replies very fast. And he's very patient. He's going to be a very great dad in future, or dog dad also. So yeah, feel free to ask him if you have any burning questions or if you have any concerns about dog training. He would be more than glad to answer you guys. But thank you so much for joining us for the rest of this show. I hope that for dog owners in Singapore, you guys have learned a lot of important tips and tricks. And for those of you who have been wanting to try out a profession in Singapore that is possibly not the most common or popular one, you now are inspired to try out something new and carve out a new path for yourself. If you are interested to share your story with us, or if you know someone with a unique profession, please talk to me and join me on the show. You can contact me on my IG at GladysVay_ or on my Facebook page at GladysBYT. Thank you so much to all of you for joining us tonight, and thank you, Wilson, once again.
No problem.
We won't have a show next week because it's pre-NDP, but we will have one the following week. It's going to be as exciting as well, so I hope to see you guys the following week. Sunday, 8 p.m. Thank you so much, y'all. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.